Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 31st edition of the Issues Room live here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the Issues Room page. My name is Volcano Shelton. Welcoming all of our viewers worldwide, wherever you are this afternoon, evening, morning, nighttime, whatever the time zone is, we say welcome to the Issues Room. Our broadcast comes Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and midnight GMT. However, today we were obliged to hold a broadcast on the Liberian refugee situation in the West African sub-region. The hope is we'll have our studio guests join us momentarily. They're not here yet with us, but in the meantime, we just wanted to um, start the show as usual. But this time, this impromptu broadcast, we'll call it an extraordinary special broadcast, is at 4 p.m., 9 p.m. Liberian time. Again, welcome, and let me bring in the good old Moses Dogba Sandy,
Well,
my colleague. How you doing, my brother?
I'm okay, Mr. Shelton. This is another impromptu broadcast, but it's important that we came to at least talk about the challenges our brothers and sisters are facing in West Africa, many Liberian refugees, Liberian migrants who are in West Africa, the hardship they are experiencing integrating. So, as servants of the people, we thought that it was important to be here. So I'm happy to be here teaming up with you, and we look forward to our guests.
Yes, I just got a signal from our guest. He's having trouble coming in, but let's hope that it will work out. Again, he's in Liberia, and we told to bring this broadcast at 4 because of the time difference. I don't think it was going to be easy to get him, to be up at midnight, our usual broadcast time at 7 p.m. So
Yes.
that's why we, wanted him to come in at this time. So Tyrone Marshall is the executive director of the Liberia Returnee Network Incorporated, and we're also going to have, hopefully, with him, the project coordinator. I believe the name is Brenda Albertha Torh, also of the LRN, and she's also the PRO. So both of them should be coming in momentarily. But the last time we were here, we talked about the situation out there in the Bujumbura camp in Ghana, and that it was decommissioned by the United Nations to be closed because, accordingly, the government of Ghana, as part of its expansion and having diaspora, Africans return, and not just African, but African Americans as well return, and to buy property, settle. They decided to, use some of those places to expand, and the locals were reaching out to the Ghanaian government to make sure that the land previously given to the Liberian refugee camp in Bujumbura be restored or
Hmm.
returned to them. And accordingly, they were in some kind of conversation around how much to repatriate the folks, from what we heard then, and that in this month, December, the conversation will, determine the status and whether it's going to be shut down completely. But just before you come in, let me just welcome Abraham Colley Jr. Good evening, welcome, Miss Cole Gloria Voka and William K. McDavis. Hi, you guys, and welcome to the Issues Room. So, Moses, yes, so the hope was we are going to bring them back to tell us, give a status update as to how far
But
they've gone with, you know, the plan to return these folks to Liberia. Because accordingly, most of those folks on the camp just think it's home now, irrespective of the fact that the camp is decommissioned. And I don't know how they're surviving there, whether it's on their own expense and stuff like that.
well, there is an organization called the United Nations High Commission for Refugee. The UNHCR worked with uh, countries that taking refugees and work with the international community in mobilizing resources for individuals displaced as a result of political uprising in the countries of nativity, and helping individuals who are also struggling with political human rights violation issues in the country of birth. So, in Liberia, since December 24th, 1989, when we had an incursion in Butu and County, which gave rise to a very, very, deadly civil war that claimed thousands of human lives. As a result of that, thousands of Liberians were displaced across the West African region. Some went to Sierra Leone, some went to Ghana, some went to Ivory Coast, and some even traveled abroad. In the United States, yeah, we have a good number of Liberians who came here on the refugee program, Volcano. The civil war in Liberia ended ended in 2003. And since then, a lot of work has been done to help some of our people return home. The UNHCR has been very helpful in that. The Liberian government also play a role in that. But yet, the situation in Ghana and other places, remains challenging because we still have uh, scores of Liberians on the refugee camp, even though their status as refugee no longer exists because they were told to reintegrate, either return home or reintegrate into the larger Ghanaian community. And from what we are reading out there, it seems to suggest that a good number of them are very, very struggling for Canada. Getting to the labor market is a challenge. Being able to do business is a challenge. Coexisting with the local authority is a challenge. And so there are just too many hardship. And I don't know what you've been following.
But it's obvious, especially those in Ghana. I mean, to think about it, you know how the Ghanaians are more considerate. The way they
Hmm.
put it, they're patriotic. They
Hmm.
first, you
Yeah.
know, seek the
Hmm.
interests of the people
Yeah.
rather than those who are from, other countries. And so yes, it's tough to find job in Ghana, and a lot of them, if they were refugees and didn't have the opportunity to develop themselves in ways that they could be employable, then
Hmm.
that even makes it harder. um, and I'm again, we're hoping that uh, we can get through with Tyrone. He keeps saying he's having difficulty. Um, but it is the hope that we can get him in here tonight to tell us where they are. But just the other day, it's not just Ghana. When I had a little a tete-a-tete with him, he said that he went to Ivory Coast, and the situation there is appalling, very, very, very deplorable.
Hmm.
And they were able to acquire some 10 acres of land. Don't know for what purpose, whether it's for repatriation purposes through the Liberian Returnee Network program. But it's not just Ghana, it's even in Guinea,
Yeah.
it's even in the Ivory Coast. So imagine how many Liberians are out there. We don't know the number. We're hoping that, if he's able to come in to tell us, exactly how many people that their organization is catering to or have, within their network at this point. But it is a serious situation. And we don't know what's the status with the Liberia Refugees Repatriation Commission.
Hmm.
Was it the LRRC, Liberia
Refuge,
Resettlement, Repatriation, Refugee? Yeah, something
Resettlement
like that.
Commission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we don't know. Uh, Unfortunately, we didn't uh, look at the budget to see what was put in there and how can that be utilizable in terms of helping get these people back to Liberia. Because that's the only way out. Come to think about it, I mean, they've been in these places for years.
Oh yeah.
And I think the last time we talked those who were born in the camp, I don't think that they have Ghanaian citizenship, if you recalled.
Yeah, I know a little bit about the Ghanaian immigration law. I won't be able to tell you definitively whether they are Ghanaians, Liberians born on a camp, whether they are Ghanaians or not. Maybe that's something that we need to investigate a little bit. But like you said, we have hundreds of Liberians in the West African sub-region that are very, very struggling. And there are no more reasons why these people are even struggling to integrate into the larger community of the countries that we just made mention of. Take, for example, Liberians who fled and went to Guinea, and that's a language barrier. In Guinea, I'm told the official language there is French. How many Liberians speak French? Those who went to Ivory Coast, it's the same complication, being able to navigate the system. Like in the United States, if you come to the United States, for Canada, in order to succeed in this country, you have to be fluent in English or you learn Spanish because these are the two official languages in the United States.
Yep.
If you come here, you don't speak English, you don't speak Spanish, then navigating the system here would be real, tough for you. It's the same thing in Ivory Coast. It's the same
Hmm.
thing in Guinea and other French-speaking countries. So these people, for the length of time, can you imagine since 1989, December? Some of them been away since 1989 when they fled Liberia because of the incursion,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
former National Patriotic Front NPFL incursion into Buchu when people fled and they scattered all over the place. Some haven't come back home. So to make it in the foreign land, and when Liberia, regained normalcy, uh, the Liberian government working with the UNHCR, the refugee status of most of these people, the refugee program in this country came to an end. The plan then was to repatriate, and that is where the Liberia Refugee Repatriation Commission, the LRRC play a significant role in helping some of these people return home. But those that were born abroad, a good number of them refused to go back home. And that's understandable because they had nowhere to go back to, you
And
know?
some of them say that they don't even know their relatives and loved ones, especially the young people who were born in Ghana or went there as a
Hmm.
result of being orphans and don't even know their,
Hmm.
their lineage in terms of the family
Yeah, religion.
heritage.
Hmm.
And so they cannot return to a country called Liberia that they have no clue of where to start from. And, so many issues we talk about in the issues room, and this is another serious issue. If you think about it, people want to go back to their country of origin, but they have no clue as to where they're going to start from, how embracing is the society going to be to them. Um, some of the communities are no more. Some of those communities have changed tremendously. Think
Yeah.
about you who've been here for anywhere close to 20 years.
Yes.
You go to Liberia, my man, you will be lost.
I'm a
Lost
stranger,
in some instances because
obviously.
things have changed. Not that it
Significantly.
looks so different
Hmm.
that it's going to confuse you, but to get to your own house, you will be wondering, but wait a minute, where's my house at? It used to be here. It's there, but just go looking good before you find your house because you have to look, because people
Yeah.
have built on everybody building in the alley and there's congestion. So that in itself makes it compelling
Hmm.
for a structural program to be put in place, that will get these people back because just the reintegration aspect of it,
Yeah.
it's not just going back home, but to be reintegrated, and again, as I said, some of them may not have had the opportunity to gain skill set, get the kinds of education, that will put them and infuse them right back into the Liberian society. The society itself is still struggling for manpower. Even right in the country, you can see the brain drain in the country. So, needless to say, bringing people who may not have the requisite, expertise, qualifications, so forth, and so that's a serious, serious issue if you look at it from that perspective.
I agree with you. You're absolutely right. And Volcano, if you do the math, from 1989 December 24th to now, we're talking about 32 years. And so somebody that was born on the refugee camp, um, the person has never been to Liberia. Where do you expect this person to go to? The person is now an adult. Where is this person going to? Does the person even know the county, the village, or village, or villages that relatives came from? Of course not. You know, the cultural practices are all different. So going back home and suddenly, it'd be like going to a foreign land. Liberians who left, 32 years ago that were much younger, going back to Liberia today to rebuild their lives, for Canada, that's another significant challenge, especially when they don't have the resources, like you said, don't have money, don't have the skill set. So they go back to Liberia. How are they going to reintegrate? You and I, let's use ourselves as example. If we went back to Liberia today and we try to reintegrate into the system, yes, we have skills, we are educated, but it's still going to take time, for people to even accept us. The way we do things will be quite different from the way they do it there. Some people will be intimidated that, hey, we have come to take their jobs. Some people will say, well, what did they bring? So it's going to help. I mean, it's going to really take time to readjust in Liberia. It's then what's about somebody who is going to Liberia that has no financial support, no education, doesn't know where his or her parents came from. You see that? That's
And
why.
that's where
Go
the
ahead.
government needs to start to strategize
Yeah.
and kind of interface with the LRN, meaning the
Mm-hmm.
Liberian Returnee Network,
Network. Mm-hmm.
pull them in a room, pull the LRRC in a room, and begin to strategize and say, listen, this is a serious problem. And that's your people.
Yeah.
That's your people, Moses. So you can't sit there and pretend like it's not your problem.
Mm-hmm.
The Liberian people in these refugee camps are your people. So you need to interface. And if you need to make a case with the United Nations and or through the UNHCR and say, listen, we want to do this in good faith. We want to bring our people home, but we need our extra, boost. Here's what we
Absolutely.
can afford, but
Mm-hmm.
these are the number of people. These are the things that's supposed to happen. Now you decommissioned the refugee camps, but we need some support to get our folks back home.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you make that case, there's a strong possibility that you know um, everything going to work out. But to just sit there and play the blind eye, and these people are living in deplorable conditions, is beyond imagination, as though they don't have a country and a government to tend to their needs. So this is a serious matter, and it has to be collective on all sides, even the ordinary Liberian citizens, civil society, the churches need to get involved. Where are the days when the churches were missionaries,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to do missionary work. Today, many of the churches just came out here the other day, and everybody looking for money. They're get rich scheme pastors and wannabe pastors who just brainwashing the people there and taking the money out of the pocket. Come here, I'll pray for you and make you rich tomorrow. You don't have a baby, I give you a baby. So many things are going on now. It's crazy, but the truth
Yeah,
is, the government and all of these different organizations need to come together to make this work.
I agree. I agree with you. Absolutely. And Volcano. This is where again, uh, our political leaders will really have to work on making Liberia a livable place for all. A country that will be adherent to the rule of law, a country that will cater to the needs of its people. If you take a closer look at their 2021 national budget, approximately uh, $300 million, which accounts for more than 80% of the government's you know expenditure goes for recurring
Hmm.
expenditure. So if you are using that kind of money, paying for salaries, vehicles, and others to make the government functional, then how do you cater to refugees? You
Hmm.
don't have
Hmm.
money. You don't have money. You have used more than 50% of your money on recurring expenditure, or even 60 or 80% of your money on recurring expenditure. So the government is literally broke. So if you went back home as a refugee, and someone said, well, you can compare the United States to Liberia. Yes, there's some level of comparison here for Canada because, like in this country, there are services. Besides being a media person, I'm a social worker here in the United States. People come here as refugees. First thing, the system provides, financial assistance, help you get, into the labor force. If language is your problem, they help you go to a kind of a program that will enable you begin to acquire some skills, in enhancing your language capability. They help you with housing and all of that. In Africa, specifically in Liberia, we don't have those kind of services. It's a society where um, we would say survival of the fittest.
Hmm.
You got to fend for yourself. If you don't fend for yourself, you're on your
Okay.
own.
It's
You
been a
know,
crazy ride. So Moses Tyrone is
yeah.
here finally.
Wow, we are happy that the Tyrone
Tyrone,
is here.
Tyrone, Tyrone.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
You
Yeah,
had us
it's
soliloquizing
understandable.
and monologuing and all of that here.
And
Uh, um,
Yeah,
it's good to have you in finally. But we've been discussing, and I'm
thank you.
sure you were listening and trying to hopefully, where we started from was just to give a little background about when we, had the first time we had a conversation with you guys, and then the potential to come back and tell us where you guys were because the Ghanaian authority had given you the month of December, uh, to
Yeah,
finally vacate the Bujumbura camp. And then I followed your page to see that you were also in the South region, somewhere in the Ivory Coast, and looking at more of the situation of Liberian refugees. So this is not just common to Ghana, but it's also in Guinea, it's also in the
yeah,
Ivory Coast. But just
yeah.
since you just got here 25 minutes later, we'll just give you an opportunity, a minute or two, talk about you, talk about the LRN, and hopefully Alberta will join us at some point, and then we can go from there. So just tell our audience who is Tyrone Marshall, your work you're involved with, and then we'll kick off.
Well, Tyrone Marshall is an activist, humanitarian. Um, love to see, you know, the right thing being done, especially when it comes to refugees issue. I got to have passion for refugees when I became a refugee, and my refugee life just gave me a career that I love doing to my heart because it's like being a refugee is like being discriminated against. and you like a second class human being, and nobody have your time. You have opportunities taken away from you. You dare not speak out. When you speak out, authority come for you. And so I saw it as a challenge to the human race, because human being will always have conflict. And when we have conflict, there will be refugees, definitely. And so if we keep treating ourselves like this, or treating others like the way we treated them, then something need to be done about it. Because then it's like still breeding conflict after conflict. Because I went in a refugee camp and I'm ill treated, I'm manhandled, nobody cared about me. And then later I I got, an opportunity. So the next thing is I want a revenge of what happens to me. So this is how I came to be an activist for refugees. And I established the LRN along with my colleagues. And we've been doing well for the past 10 years. We've been doing well. 10 years in Liberia,
So that's your
in
full
the
time job.
Ghana.
That's your full time job.
Yeah, that's my full time. I got nothing else doing.
Wow.
That's a full time job I'm doing
But Tyrone, let's
since
do let's talk about
August
let's talk
17th.
about internal displays too, because when people just think that refugee means you got to be outside of the country, but even in the case of conflict internally, you become displaced. It feels like you're a refugee because you leave from Painesville.
Precisely.
I left from Painesville and went somewhere else in the smell no taste era.
Yeah,
You know smell no taste, but you never grew up there. The people look at you. If you didn't have some real people to embrace you and open their doors, you're still going to be in the street.
of course. It was
Shelton, this
very
is a
strange.
heartbreak situation. This is a situation that Liberian Returning Network have addressed. We've had numerous press conferences. We have tried to educate government. We've tried to educate all civil society group to join along with us. Because if Ma Fanta or Ma Siata left the village, or Omer Flomo left his village, and that village burned down and no longer exists, but then he moved to his friend's village, but he don't feel comfortable being there. He feel comfortable being back in his village. All he needed to do is to hear a better news on a greater opportunity to go back home. And I just want to mention shortly Ruth in the Bible. When Ruth left Israel and went to Moab, she was a refugee. All she wished for was to hear good news from back home. And the day that opportunity came and Ruth got to have a good news from back home, she said goodbye. She said, I must return home. It's every woman's wish, every human being's wish to return home. But in our case, nobody cares. Nobody listens. When you want to be too hard, they politicize it. And this is not about politics. This is about human race. This is about mankind. It could happen to you, not because you are in a greater opportunity, but it could be anybody.
But let's come out.
People,
Let's come. Moses, you want to come in?
Yeah, quickly.
Okay, go
Uh,
ahead.
yeah, I
Because
just
I
want.
wanted us to come to the conversation now.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's just what I was about to get to. So, Tyrone, bring us up to date in terms of the status of Liberians will reside on the refugee camp in Ghana, Guinea, and the Ivory Coast. I know years back, all of these refugee camps were decommissioned with the UNHCR support, and a good number of you people in a good number of Liberians that fled in Ghana, Liberia. I mean, in Ghana, that fled to Ghana, that fled to the Ivory Coast, Guinea, and other places. They chose not to go back home. Help us understand what is the status of these people now, and what need to be done to help them.
Brother Moses is life situation is quite different
Mm-hmm.
when the situation is not within your reach
Okay.
of handling. That is the refugee situation. People who left, I explained this on the show before.
Yeah.
People who left and went in a refugee camp, some of them went with their parents. They were little ones. The parents died. They were like 9 years old, 7 years old when they left Liberia. Now they've grown up, become men and women, they got married. The parents have died. Who's supposed to connect them? Some of them were living in Monrovia. Those places no longer exist. They were renting and all of those things. Who do they come to? The family have not connected them to any family by. Now somebody went with their bigger children. The bigger children die. The older ones remain. They become very old. They are unaccompanied elderly. Nobody. They can move. Some of them can hardly walk. So this situation, some of the children were born on the camp. The parents died. Maybe the husband left the mother and went somewhere else for greener pasture. The single mother alone left with the children. And she passed because of her time or situation. What happens to the children? They don't know any family by who. How do they come home with repatriation? When you bring repatriation, you have a bottleneck. Or we can carry 20 kilo of your belonging. Or when you go, we'll give you $100 to go anywhere you find yourself. How do they come? This is how it got divided. Those that have family by home to come to lodge with them until they can have something to do or find their feet. They came, they took the opportunity to come. Those that have no means at all left there. And they are the one today are still stranded on the camp. Then they changed their name from refugee to stranded migrant. How can they be migrant? They're
Mm.
refugees.
So you were
And
in
so
Africa.
the
Oh,
situation,
okay. Continue. Continue. You were still saying something?
there's how it been. We were just in Guinea, in Camp Loli. I am telling you, Shelton, you go to that place, you will cry. You see Liberian refugee where they sleep, you will
Describe the
cry, you
condition.
shed tears.
Yeah,
Describe the
describe it.
condition.
Very harsh condition. Very harsh condition. The,
How
I
do
mean,
you explain
Bujumbura is
Hajj?
better.
How do you explain Hajj,
Bujumbura is better. Seriously.
Tyrone?
That's what I'm
How
And
saying.
you have to
Describe the
accept them.
condition, Tyrone. Describe
Yeah,
the condition. Tell us what is
They,
it like?
you
they,
say
in the
Hajj.
first
How do
place,
you explain that?
in the first place, the refugee don't have a job. They don't have a good sleeping place. They don't have free water. The people put heat pump on the camp, but the refugee is supposed to buy the water for the heat pump.
Oh wow.
The men don't have a job
With no job? How you
with no
buy the
job.
water?
So what the ladies can do, the mothers go out and cut rice. You have to cut. You have to go on a Guinean farm and cut 11 handful, 11 bundle, not handful, 11 bundle. So it's like a bundle could be something like this. You have to cut 11 bundle to get one.
Hmm.
After cutting 11 bundle, standing in a water above the waist.
In the
Some of
swamp.
them explain when we leave from there, our legs are weak, our legs are white. Sometimes leached is in the water
Are you telling
in
us
those
that
places.
these people swamp? I mean, they farm in swamping land?
Yeah,
Yeah, they grow rice in swamps,
Oh,
Moses.
okay,
it's swamp.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Rice
It's,
do well in swamp. But I
okay.
think
they are
so it
not they are
sounds
not
like
sleeping. They are not sleeping in anything like um shelter that built with blocks. They are sleeping in mud house with tarpaulin. Then they built because I slept there myself, my team and I. They built this they mount up and then put lapper on it and spread it, put some plantations on it and spread lapper on it, and this is where they sleep. They and their children.
So how's the sanitation then?
They go in the bushes. They don't have a place to defecate. They go in the bushes, the nearby bushes. They build some makeshift bathroom. Some of them the bathroom are broken down. So what they do, they wait for the night and the early morning to take bath. When we went, we took bath in the morning, in the night, and we never took bath again the next
Let me
morning.
come in quick, Tyrone. So situation like this from your perspective as the ED for LRN, when you're making this trip, is there any government representation with you, meaning from the Liberia Triple
The
RC,
triple RC, yeah.
you know, going so that your description cannot be more of a, you know, um,
Professional.
exaggeration,
Yeah.
so that they can see firsthand what their own citizens are going through, so that they can be able to paint that picture if they were to go into the Senate or the House of Legislature to discuss the appalling condition of these people and how they can reap some kind of incentive to through government's means to get them back.
Government never find interest in going along with us.
Hmm.
Every time we raise this to actual privacy, I mean, sometimes I feel sorry for the executive director. So because the budget for them is very little. So to maintain a staff alone, to do other things, they only took. But what we do, they will usually carry journalists.
Mhm.
Like on the trip, we carried the guy from Front Page Africa. He went along with us. He's not working with us. He's a journalist, and we take him there, and he see the harsh condition. He see these things, and he able to report them. This is how the world can know what happened to Liberians around the sub-region, and this is how we do it. But government,
Mhm.
they tell us they don't have the resources to do that. When we launched the home by home campaign, it was very difficult for us. We tried to sort out other means from government, but there was no way.
So,
I'm sorry for
Tom,
my vocal because I have cold.
all
Go
right,
ahead.
yeah. So, Tom, let me ask you this question. Are you guys receiving any support from the UNHCR?
No,
No support?
no.
Is there any reason why the United Nations High Commission for Refugee has turned its back on Liberian refugees?
Oh, their reason is Liberian refugees tend to be refugees no longer,
Okay,
although they are in the camps,
okay,
but all their support and the refugee status been cut off.
okay.
So
If you just joining us, this is the Issues Room. We're broadcasting live here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the Issues Room page. We want to encourage you to share the link. Many of our viewers who are usually with us on our broadcast are not here tonight. We hope that you did receive the promo. We're discussing the plight of Liberian refugees in the sub-region, and the Liberia Returnee Network Incorporated is working with the international community and the Liberian government to find means of helping to get our folks returned to Liberia. But Tyron, from hearing what you're saying, that the LRRC is in itself is incapacitated.
yeah,
So Moses, this is where I'll be
Yeah.
straight up calling a spade a spade. Then is it necessary to pay salaries to an entity that is not functioning and is not delivering? You
Mhm.
have a staff, you have an executive director, you put resources, but they cannot even function uh, for the purpose for which they were established. And so then why don't you just take that money, what we call the devolution approach, take that money and give it to the LRN, right? As a nonprofit, and let them do the work of the LRRC. Because if the LRRC is only sitting in Monrovia and collecting paycheck as then what's the need of having it when you can devolve that responsibility to LRN?
But in Volcano, is good you said that. And the problem that Tyrone spoke about with the ultra policy being underfunded and catering to the needs of refugees is a huge problem. It affects all agencies of government. Yesterday evening I have the opportunity of watching a broadcast via Facebook from Monrovia. And you won't believe, Volcano. I heard this reporter say that police officers, and let me just digress a little bit, police officers in Maryland County were complaining that, you know, um, they have inadequate prison facility. As a result, when criminals are arrested and they have nowhere to keep them, what do?
You just let them
They
go.
release them, let them go. So you pay police officers salaries, but they cannot perform because the facilities are not there. I also heard that the police officers in the county don't have vehicles. So when crisis strikes, how do these people respond? It's the same thing with the LRRC. You have refugees across West Africa. You have internally displaced Liberians, but the agency created by government to cater to the needs of these people, the agency is underfunded. But yet,
Yeah.
those who work at these places or those who work for the LRRC receive monthly compensation. So what is the purpose? Why you pay people salaries when they can't really work? I don't understand, Volcano. What do you
So
think?
Tyrone, I understand that you were able to acquire 10 acres of land. Tell us the
Yeah.
story and for what purpose?
Okay. We having a passion and a vision to see how best our people come home. Um, got a support from our partner in Germany, and they were able to send us some money. Seeing the kind of work that we do, and we're able to purchase 10 acres of land in Bomi to see how best now clear the land and now start to advocate, beg Liberians like you in the diaspora, if even if it is thanks that we put on from the beginning, we start on until we'll be able to build some shelter. Liberians are resilient people. Even the people in Guinea really gave me courage. They told me, they said, Marshall, if you take us back home, just give us place to farm, we will make the difference. So these are people, these are assets. They are not liability. We are suffering for when you see some of the kind of farming that people can do, but they don't have the money to rent the land. In Guinea, before they farm, they have to look for money to rent the land.
Oh, wow.
If you can't rent the land, you can't farm. These are the harsh conditions they are living under. And so they say, we're ready to go back home. But if you take us, we don't just want to be sitting in one camp like we are here. Get us areas that we can farm because we are agriculturists. So
Yeah,
and
Moses. So
so these are the circumstances. So we bought the land, and the surveying of the land will be done right after the Christmas. And we are asking every one of you to join hands with us and see how best that we can do something for once in our lifetime. We spend some cash that mean nothing to us, $5, $10, $15. We so that we give to our children for lunch, for just to buy them a snacks. But if you just think that $5, the $10, the $15 is not thinking that you're taking that money to put in Tyrone Marshall or ARN's pocket. pet you have, and now you are giving her $10 or and don't wanting to receive it no longer or and having any compensation for it, if we start to think that way, we will do
Let me let me
exploits,
let
and
me
our
qu-
people
let me
will come by home. And these are little things that can even give us a ticket to heaven.
let
Because
me come in
Christ
quick.
said, as much as you can do it to the least among you, you've done it unto me.
So Tyrone, you talked about your partners in Germany. How many of those other of similar partners you have around the world?
Hello?
Yeah, I said you talk about your partner in Germany. How many of similar
Yeah.
partners you have around the world and working with you?
It's only the partner in Germany. The for us the what they really sponsoring us on is building the young people capacity in Liberia. Because we came back with we are not just after the refugees issue, but we are also building people capacity through vocational agriculture training. And so they see this work and they support it. But in the midst of that, we see that we have more responsibility. So they gave us that support, and our little stipend that were on that support for working, we put it together and bought the land. The better we build the people capacity. The next thing, let us buy the land and see how best we can bring these people back home. No matter what happens, we know that we can get help from somewhere.
Are you
So
currently
we bought the 10 acres
Brenda is
and
trying to come
we
in.
wishing to buy more, but
Brenda is trying to come in. So once
she comes
we
in?
can get her through, we'll be bringing her on the broadcast, Moses. But I think he's frozen in the back there. Um,
Okay.
but you were about to say something, so
Yeah, I'm gonna asking if he's receiving or the agency he represents, if the agency is receiving any international support, because what he's talking about fundraiser, that's inadequate, to really
mhm.
tackle the kind of problem we're talking about here, Volcano.
Because if you think about the repatriation of these people and the 10
People,
acres of
yeah,
land, he's
yeah,
asking for tarpaulin, but you also got to look at utensils. You
yes,
know, there's a lot of there will be a lot of need for utensils. Um,
medical care, all of
yeah,
that,
you know,
you
um,
know.
and hopefully the area that they're going to be residing, the neighboring villages and towns will have land for them
Hmm.
to be able to do some kind of farming.
Hmm.
Because again, getting back to Liberia is one thing, but survival
Of
is
course,
another thing. And
incarceration.
I think he's also having internet problem. He just
Okay,
got kicked out.
okay.
So let's see if he gets back. But in the meantime, I will hope that our folks out there will join us here in the issues room. All of our favorite folks are not in tonight. That's the reason. Sometimes when you have these impromptu
Yeah,
broadcast,
yeah, yeah.
it tend to kick people off their
The
equilibrium,
schedule,
especially
yeah.
with the time of the broadcast. Of course, just a quick reminder, we come on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. That hasn't changed. That's our standard broadcast, but we thought to be broadcasting occasionally on Saturdays and Sundays as permit because of certain guests and the time difference between 7 p.m. here and midnight in Liberia. That's a
Mhm.
long time for someone to be up waiting, and then sometimes we go into an hour and a half, 2 hour broadcast. That means 2 in the morning for
Yeah.
them. And if they have to be up to go to work. So that's why we kind of like come in a day, 4 p.m. here, 9 p.m. there to give that, leverage in terms of, understanding their side for
Mhm.
being in the GMT time zone. But
Right.
again, we'll be back here on Tuesday. We'll be back on Friday next week, just before the Christmas.
Mhm.
In fact, next week, Saturday is Christmas, Moses.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
quick.
it is. Yeah, time flies, man. Christmas is right here.
And a week
Yeah.
after that will be my birthday, January 1st.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Congratulations in
can't believe
advance,
it,
my
my
man.
brother. I'm praying to cross over the hump.
You'll
Yeah,
be kicking in 2022, my
enter
man.
2022.
Yeah, we wish you a long life and better days ahead. But Volcano, something I wanted to ask Tyrone. All these problems he spoke about. I'm wondering whether uh, the refugee network is in contact with the foreign ministry. In a contact with the foreign ministry.
That would
And,
be that.
and go ahead.
Yeah, that would be something to consider, because
Yeah.
the foreign ministry, um, the LRRC, all of those uh, should be partners with
Hmm.
LRN.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think one of the ways the government can streamline some of these unnecessary costs and expenses is to kind of devolute some of these responsibilities to these credible nonprofit organizations like that of Tyrone.
Hmm.
So Tyrone, Moses had a
Yeah.
question regarding whether you have any kind of contact with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because it's all part of the travel
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah. The issue with the, I just don't want to go that route because the issue with
You
our
can speak on
country,
the
I guess
subject.
the political
the
sentiments.
issue there is that there's too much misinterpretations when it comes because somebody's not doing the right thing. You talk about it, and it's like you are attacking an individual, and our thinking, you want to don't understand that a human being, an educated person, can be thinking like the way we think in like this because
So
you're not doing the right thing. And somebody try to speak out. This is the way to go. In the first place, the government never had any mind to even tackle the Ghana issue until LRN started. When I was called by the Ghanaian ambassador to have a meeting of discussion, and that ambassador man was able to recognize us and say, "Look, the peace of the two nations lies in your hands. So I want you to help. Let's build a peace, and I can link with my government for to see how best the Liberian government and the Ghanaian government can link up to do something." When the government got ready to go, in the mind, you have an NGO and a civil society. You go for a pragmatic discussion. The two governments will be discussing diplomatic issue. The core of the issue will never be discussed. Those core issues will never be discussed. They woke up. The foreign affairs minister, the executive director of HRC, they put a team together with RRM. When it first started, they said when we are going to Ghana, your team, one or two person will go alone because you people understand the issue more than us,
but mhm.
although we are in governmental positions. And I said, okay, that's fine. When they got ready, they said in the president wisdom, that had the director described that. In the president wisdom, they should go. And they went there. The Ghanaian dictates the pace. They discussed whatsoever they could discuss, but the Ghanaian also gave a good offer. The Ghanaian said, you know what? Repatriation will start on January 4th.
And that's
But
next
we
year.
as government,
Is that next year?
yeah,
Is that
next year,
next
January
year?
4th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they called us to the stakeholder discussion. The HRC invited us, and we're
Okay.
there. And in
Okay.
that discussion, we were like, what is about to happen? They said, okay, we came up with this. The Ghanaian government offered to the Liberian people and the Liberian government, your citizen, we have another camp. Those who don't want to go, who are refugees here, we put them into another camp. Those who want to return home, we provide buses or trucks to take them from here through Africa to the Liberian border, and we deliver your people into your hands. This is where they are. All of the things that's supposed to be done up to now, the roadmap, but now, a census supposed to be ongoing in Ghana. That is not yet done. We are almost to January 4th.
Uh,
So,
mhm.
how do you bring the people? Now, the Liberian government is saying there are people they want to do census or immigration or other things because there will be some people that will not be Liberians and want to come. Granted. So they charge our the responsibility along with the camp management on the camp to do the census with no logistics. No logistics, nothing. They say, okay, you'll be marking the people name. We will give you people the templates. Since that time up to yet, the templates have not been given.
So,
Now, so the fourth repatriation is supposed to start on the fourth. We continue to tell them that the camp management, especially the Liberians who are in leadership on the camp, they are the problem. Please get to know the government don't want to buy that. They're still working. They want to work along with them. They say, ARA, we can't work with you alone. We got to work with the people on ground. I say, but the people on ground, they are the problem. Now, with our men on ground, the new information that the authority on the camp is given to the Liberians. Pin your horses. That thing that sure they will not break down the horses. So pin your horses and sit down. You see where we are?
so,
Now when Ghanaians go on the camp starting the 4th and carry buses and nobody enters the buses, the next thing is to demolish.
Tyrone,
This is where we are.
Tyrone, am I hearing you to say that there are Liberians on the refugee camp in Ghana that are reportedly undermining the initiative by government to have them repatriated? Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
I have a first-hand information on that. I'm telling you, I have men on the ground. We are working day after day. The issue there is that there's a trust issue here, which the government refused to understand.
And
You
whose government?
need
Whose government? Liberia
our
or Ghana?
government,
Okay.
our government in Ghana, meaning our government.
Okay.
All right, there's a trust issue. The people don't trust the government.
What government?
That is, you brought some of us before. You promised some things. You never adhere to those things you promised. So those that they're already afraid. It's like the
Tyrone? Tyrone?
the, sh- the yes,
Tyrone, can I pause you and bring in Brenda? Brenda is here now. So let me
Sure.
bring in
yes,
Brenda
please.
and quickly welcome her. Brenda, I see that you are struggling to get through, but technology
Okay.
has a way. Good evening. It's good to have you here in the
Yeah,
issues room.
Welcome, Brenda. It's a
thank
pleasure to
you.
have you. Uh-huh.
So we're here with
Thank you.
Tyrone, and Tyrone was in
Thank you.
flight, giving us a little background. But quickly, let's just introduce you, then we'll come back to Tyrone. Tell us a little bit about you and what's your role with
Okay.
the LRN.
Brenda Torh, I'm serving as the Public Relations Officer and the Regional Coordinator for Refugees and Returnees.
Okay.
And how long you been in that role?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. All right, we'll come back to you. Thanks, Tyrone. You are continue. Rather, you
Go
can
ahead.
go and continue
Right.
with the answer.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
said you talked about trust and the
Yeah,
lack of
sure.
trust
Yeah. So
from the
that's the
refugees.
trust issue. The trust issue is the problem. So you need a neutralizer. You need like an NGO in between. This is what the American government have used it. Where the government cannot go, use it goes. Okay, we have established ourselves. We are a non-governmental entity. If you give us a responsibility and
Sure.
looked at it and supervise it. We see how best, because the people need trust. If we go by whom what the government saying, it is really true, Marshall. Brenda, it is true what they are saying. Yes. Can you guarantee us LRN? Yes, we can guarantee you. When you get home, you have place to lay your head. But Liberian government alone or Ghanaian government coming up say get home and you find place to lay your head. People don't trust them. And it's the trust issue that have the problem. And they don't want to deal with the trust issue, which is a cardinal issue. The people, the refugees don't trust it. Even when we went to Guinea, the refugees complained that the government had abandoned them. Government
So,
went there some years back, said they were going back to pick them up and bring them to Liberia. It was just a charade.
So let's bring in Brenda. Brenda, from your perspective, from everything you've seen around in the sub region, where do you think this gonna? How do you think this gonna end? We understand that, particularly beginning with Ghana, the folks need to return to Liberia starting January. Do you foresee this happening, and how do you see it going to end from your involvement with all of this?
Oh, okay. Thank you. What I see is that people have trusted us. Okay, I can say that for real. In them on a daily basis, and show them, all right, of what we have and what we want to do. So, what I see in the end is that our plan for them will work, all right, with our with we involving other well wishers, other stakeholders to help us. We have designed a plan already. We have our training already ongoing. When they come, they can have peace of mind and they can also be empowered because our work is advocacy and empowerment. But mind you, our initiative is not a form of cohesion. So some who want to be where they are, they can be. But a lot of people who want to come back, we have already assured them, and they are waiting to get the best of us. So our straight plan now is to get the necessary help so that we go about with what we want to do. They already know. Right now, I'm speaking to you from Monrovia. Before I got here, I spoke with the UBA. It's a group in Ghana on the refugee camp. That's United Basel Association. That's the last I spoke with. So
She's
she's
having
having,
connection issue. Yeah,
yeah. So,
and
so
they
let me.
believe.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So then, let me.
Okay, I
Why?
think I think let's bring Tyrone back in.
Yeah. So Tyrone,
Yeah.
you said earlier that the Liberian government reportedly made promises to refugees in Ghana, Ivory Coast, and other places, but reneged on those promises. What are those promises that were made?
A tripartite agreement was signed.
Mm-hmm.
And within a tripartite agreement, there were responsibility, there were benefit, there was stipulations there.
Yeah.
When you
What are
get
those
by home,
benefits? What are
yeah,
those benefits? The benefits.
the
Help us
access
understand.
and access to land,
Okay.
access to scholarship for education,
Mm-hmm.
access to medical care. If you want to go to your homeland, they're
Yeah.
supposed to take you there. If you don't have a place to be, they're supposed to find you a place.
Okay.
Access to job creation,
Okay.
all of these things, access to medical benefit, all was part of the tripartite agreement. And so this tripartite agreement, when some of us came by home, we never benefited anything. And the world is global. So someone will stay on a refugee camp who has not registered to come or registered to come. and one of his friends came ahead and asked, "What do they give you? What have you received?" And the person said, "I've not received anything." It gets the other person afraid from the other end. And
Okay.
so he or she stays. And so the tripartite agreement that was signed amongst the countries, UNHCR, the Ghana government, and the Liberian government, UNHCR, the Ghana government, the Guinean government, and the Liberian government, UNHCR, the Sierra Leone government, and and the Liberian government. All of these countries within a sub-region, they all went together and signed a tripartite agreement. And that agreement was never heard. Today, there's what got the people there. Nobody wants to be in exile or in a place that they don't have a right. They don't have means to work. To fare for food is very difficult. And they will just find pleasure of being there. And there's how other librarians interpret that. And which is not the story. The story is quite different. If you flew from America today and went to Guinea and you confront the librarians, tears will not stay in your eyes. You went to Bujumbura, you see a family, if a child had brought another child to the father or to the mother has no control over that child, but because he or she is incapacitated to support that child. How do you discipline that child? This our future generation we are talking about. So they are not responsible for the war. I always say this. Can we just give her a life future for God's sake?
I was going to come into Brenda. Brenda, I know you kind of lost. I hope you wouldn't this time around. Let's come back to you from the
I'm
perspective
okay.
of the population. Usually, refugees are a composition of adults, children, and the old, and profoundly uh, the group that is profoundly touched oftentimes are the mothers and the children. In this repatriation plan you guys have, what is the actual count of women, children, men, and the old that you guys are intending to return to Liberia?
Okay. Thank you. We have groups that we have divided. The infant children, which are also orphans, and the elderly, and then the single mothers. Okay, for their numbers, I can give you a rough estimate because sometimes some people are, in and out. But what we have now, because we have some people who don't want to come, like I said earlier. So what we have now, I'm estimating over 800 together. But if we want groups with the children, mothers, and sit mothers, and so on and so forth. But I
So
can
the
tell
reason
you
I asked you this
there
question
is
is
a
because I
population
wanted to know.
that want to come back home.
Yeah, the reason I asked you this question is because I wanted to know your plan and what you have in place now in Liberia when you return these 800 plus people. Where do they start from? What is in place in Liberia?
Okay,
And that can be
Brenda.
either you or Tyrone. What is in place right now?
okay. Thank you. Right now, our place where we stand is just the acquisition of the 10-acre land space that we just purchased in Bomi County. Okay, so our being on this, all right, is to tell people this is how far we've come to get housing units put down on that plot of land for people to come in and live. Talking about the plans and what we have for the people, like I said earlier, we will have skills training for those who are not skilled yet, because there are some who are not skilled yet. And then for children also, we have a layout of how they. It's going to be a whole community, all right. Camp again, anyway, it's going to be a community. So we have a layout, for schools for the children, And then businesses also for people. They're going to be a market, complex, something that for people to come into. That is a plan we have. For those who have to go to school, yeah, so there is a plan for that too. For right now, what we have is just the acquisition of the 10-acre land in Bomi County.
But now,
Okay.
Brenda, let me ask you this question: what you guys
Yes, sir.
intend to, what you
Yes, sir.
guys intend to do for the refugees? Uh, it seems to be very costly. Do you, do you people have money right now to do this as an organization? Do you have the monetary support?
No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't. Okay. And our appeal, or like I said, the reason why we are here to have to be frank and fair with the reason why we are here tonight, we've been doing it, okay, since I'll say almost since last September. We've been raising funds in our own weak ways,
Hmm.
but it hasn't been, fruitful. Let me just put it that way. And so we are still devising other means, one of which is what we are doing here. There are a lot of people, well wishers, other entities who we think can, come on board to help, most of which are also former residents too of the same camp and of the other camps who we know that what can help. Anything. Somebody asked me, I don't have money, and then I don't have money, and I said, you don't have to give us $1,000, $100. No, your $1, your $5 can do something. You don't know what it can be. It's a collective, not just for us, but we have the vision and we are pushing it forward. So we need you and you and you and you to do that. And ideas to also. Maybe you think, like you said, it's too expensive. And so you can also give some ideas on what you think we can do to make it work. But all we want is that our people should come back home.
Okay.
Thank you. If you just joining us, this is the Issues Room. We want to welcome all of you, our viewers all over the world. You're in company with uh, Mr. Tyrone Marshall. He is the executive director of the Liberian Returnee Network Incorporated and the uh, project coordinator or PRO, Ms. Brenda Albertha Torh. Here in studios with us tonight. The number to call 404-272-2808. Again, 404-272-2808. The Issues Room is a broadcast that come your way on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and midnight in Liberian time. However, we are having this extraordinary broadcast today to accommodate our two guests. So the next time we bring them will be our regular time, and I hope they will be able to make the sacrifice to be up at midnight in the interest of raising some kind of incentives to help the organization. So Tyrone and Alberta, we will try to plan something in the coming weeks for our regular broadcast time, so we can have the kind of following and be able to put a pitch out there, to our viewers and see if we can raise something from through the platform for you guys in support of helping those 800 plus people that you're intending to return to Liberia. So I guess we could do this in about 2 weeks away. Let the holidays, go by so that you can plan on your end too, and then we can do that to bring you guys back. We'll also see if we can talk to some of the Liberian organizations here. The unfortunate thing is that if I had my magic wand, I'll give you guys visas to come to America and let's go across the U.S. to all the Liberian community and
And do a
fundraise.
tour, yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's something you guys can be trying to see if you can get something worked out with the American embassy, to get you guys here and hopefully we can do this. But our people need to return to Liberia. I know what it means to be displaced. I was not a refugee. I was displaced, and I know what it means to be displaced. Needless to say, being a refugee in a country where you can't speak the language, where you have no relatives, no loved one, is impossible living.
Yeah.
And I applaud you guys for the initiative, and we pray that God will endow you guys with the grace and the mercy, and the attitude of gratitude. And that's what we'll be discussing in the coming days, to continue to do what you do, because this is enormous sacrifice, and we can't say uh, much about it. So Rivers S Pro is in studios with us. He says, what is the estimated number of returnees? We say about 800 plus now. Rivers S Pro. So you're watching from Wisconsin. I remember you asked this question before, when these folks were coming back. You would be one of the men. Probably you would be one of the patrons. Thomas Awaji
For
also
the
will be one of the patrons.
fundraiser, yeah.
Yeah, to this fundraiser on the platform. So we'll come to do that. Whatever we're able to raise by the grace of God, will come a long way. That's all I can say. And we'll be surprised, how many people want to contribute. So again, it's good to have you guys here. Moses coming.
Yeah, quickly, before they leave, I just want to ask Tyrone.
Quickly, yes, we're
Yeah,
taking calls. The number is posted, River says Pro. We're taking calls. The number is posted, 404-272-2808.
yeah. So, Tyrone, I was checking you guys up on your website, and I noticed that there's this report, which quoted the U.S. Embassy as saying that the Liberian government made available $50,000 for the repatriation of Liberian migrants that were trafficked to Uma. Are you aware of this? And if you are, how far has this repatriation process gone?
The migrants issue has really been supported by our, because they've been working along with us.
Okay,
The U.S. Embassy issue was was a news that was filtering in the air,
okay.
but
Tyrone,
yeah,
can you hold your thought there? Let me bring this caller in quick, because this is a segment. You'll come back to that. To that.
no,
Uh, River says Pro, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. How you doing?
We're good. We're
Good.
good.
Yeah,
Welcome, Rose.
I just started something lately, man. I miss. I don't know. Yeah, I saw the stuff you sent to me, but I just got on the program. But I mean, I got a little glimpse of what is going on here. But I want to ask the guys coming on the project uh for the returnees. I mean, what is the next plan? Okay, because if these people return, I understand you want to have them in another area. So instead of coming from a refugee camp and then coming your own country to be in another camp, what integration process do you have in place? Like integrating them into the society quicker so you don't open a whole new internally displaced camp in your country, like providing, a training and getting them to work, like masonry, carpentry, and other vocational program. What do you have? What other program do you have for them to expedite their integration and their reunification into the society instead of being refugee again in their own country? That's my question.
it's I love the question. The issue about repatriation and the issue about local integration, is especially the situation that our country found itself, is compound complex. If you took people from the moment you take people from Guinea, Ghana, you bring them to Liberia to find housing, a rented area, is very, very difficult. That is to track them. So it's better to have them in an area like we have a place called Global Village. There were people on Global Village and that have migrated from Global Village and are in Banga, some of them are schooling now in Monrovia. So the first and foremost thing is to bring them home. When you bring them, then the next thing is, how do we find a second stage to their life? But to stay in the other country and they are not on ground, and you try to find homes here, it becomes very difficult and the work has become difficult. But once you have them on ground, then the parents, you can liaise with government, you can liaise with international NGO, they can find their own job and nobody want to be refugee forever. Some of them would have jobs and find their own way, find better life somewhere else. But the most important thing is to get it from where they are. And to get it from where they are, you have you need an alternative plan. And it's what we are we have bought this place for that alternative plan. Because once they are on ground, government will be there. No matter international community will look there because they are already on ground. They are in the country. We will all figure out what to do next. But with that
And
place that they are, it becomes difficult to have there.
and I know you will go back to Moses' question regarding the
Yeah, the
situation out
migrants.
there,
Mhm.
where does the Ministry of Youth and Sports come in? When you think about and River says Pro's question here, I like the fact that he's concerned about the fast reintegration rather than bring
Yeah,
them and put them on this 10 acre of land and then they
yeah,
become complacent. Now it becomes a new community and that's it.
yeah.
Where does the Ministry of Youth and Sports come in when it comes to vocational training, youth training, and all of those things with the different vocational colleges and technical institutions in the country?
Our country. I hate to say this, but I will say it on this platform. Our country is a very difficult country to explain. Our situation is beyond human thinking.
Okay.
All right,
Hmm.
we have this beautiful program, and if when I travel to Nigeria, I travel to Ghana, and I travel to other countries, encouraging Liberians, and you get in conversation with those people, the national in those country. They say, what you are doing government work. You are working for the government. What don't do you have rich people in your country? Do you have philanthropists? Do you have humanitarian?
Of
They
course.
ask this question.
And, and
But you
and
know what
just
the
just
country
what you were saying when before you came here, I said, where are the churches? Because we know in past
you
the churches were involved in missionary work like this, but today they got all the quack pastors coming from all in the sub region. These guys come from Nigeria, from Ghana. They put it in Liberia. They're building big churches and just in the people pockets and
Yeah.
hauling and
we
getting rich. And they're not involved in any kind of work in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Taro.
I see them frozen again.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Yeah. But you struck a very important point,
yeah,
Volcano.
yeah. Seriously,
The
Moses,
role, yeah, the Ministry of Youth and Sports is critical.
it's critical.
Yeah, the
River says, "Pro, are
colleges.
you still there?"
Yes, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
okay, yeah. So he kind of answered your question, but I thought to throw in the Ministry of Youth and Sports piece there so that because they are a part of the whole integration process when you come to think about their involvement with the technical vocational institutions in the country and how it can kind of get these kids back into the mainstream of giving and building skills. Tonight they're having serious problem with the internet connectivity, but it was good having you. We don't have a lot of folks here tonight because it's one of those days that we don't really broadcast, but we're trying to do it to accommodate them. So again, we will do another show for this because the plan is to get the Liberian refugee order there by January 4th next year.
Hmm.
And accordingly, they've earmarked about 800 plus people who have committed to return to Liberia. And so this
Okay.
10 acres of land that they got out there in Bowman County is where they want to start. So Mr. Marshall is back. So yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
So as I
go
was
ahead.
saying,
Mm.
is that the moment you are into advocacy, some of your colleagues will take phone and call it, oh, you demonizing the government. You can't comprehend that. People talking about humanitarian situation and you called. Say why? Somebody would call. Marshall was doing this Ellen time. Okay, he has not done maybe somebody worse is saying that he did not say Ellen time. Why is he saying it during George Weah time?
oh, we hear this thing
It,
every day,
sound,
even the
it sounds
platform.
so stupid to me. Sorry for the expression. It sounds stupid to me when
Yeah.
somebody do those things. So these are the situations that we are faced with. Every time you come out, you want to serve humanity. You want to do the right thing for your country. You have some backlash or stupidity. Somebody comes out to tell you, oh, when you talk like that, it's like promising the government back on the outside world. Are you killing me? These are things that make our work difficult. So, like, I went to foreign ministry for some document. Like when we were going to Guinea, we got document from the Guinean ambassador. And every one of us that were traveling, our name was listed on a piece of document that the Guinea ambassador gave to us to travel along on the road. You go to Liberian government, there will be a whole lot of bottleneck.
Look at that.
They will not, they will not okay it. Somebody feels you're doing a job, and somebody feel that it's supposed to be done, but they are not doing it. When you do this, you're making them to lose their job. When the president hears it, and it's so stupid. If somebody is dying somewhere in one refugee camp, needing help, and people in Liberia arguing about status, arguing about position, hatred is just all over the place.
And you're
We have
right.
to,
You're right. You're right.
we
Let's
don't
hear from
understand where
Brenda.
it comes from.
Let's
And,
get
and,
Brenda's
and-
perspective.
yeah,
Tyrone. I know.
and
I can see the tension now.
it's
Let's
too
hear
much
from
hatred.
Brenda.
Yeah.
What's your perspective, Brenda?
Brenda, is she there?
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, it is very much tiring. I would say so, but it is what we decided to do. So it's our burning desire. I don't want to talk about passion here because it's more than even that. So we have decided to carry the weight. All right, whatsoever they do, and what is never going to quench our our flow we have. I tell you, the t-shirts that I'm wearing, we entered them sometime in June. Okay, we caption this initiative as home back home, where we want to create home back home
Mm-hmm.
here for the Liberians. So we decided to print these t-shirts and sell them, in the package and then the work form and something all that. And I tell you, people did not patronize.
Wow. Yeah, she's having that problem again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrone, what's the configuration of your organization's membership, meaning your staff? How many people are they?
I think it's also
He's also
frozen.
look frozen.
Man, the
Yeah,
problem with internet connectivity,
that's the
you know,
situation.
yeah.
So River
But
says pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you heard a lot. They're having internet
problem.
buffering right now, but yeah, that's what happening. So the refugees are set to return to Liberia in January on the
Okay.
4th, and is what they've been doing to get those folks back in the country. Again, it's now an ordinary feat. And so they've reached
Mm-hmm.
out to us so we can do some publicity and see if we can raise any kind of contribution. Because when these people get back, they're looking at getting tarpaulin and utensils, plastic buckets, and parts paints and stuff for them to be able to start life. I don't know if there's anything in the budget, but he talked about the LRRC responsible for helping to repatriate Liberians. They themselves are crying. They don't have the resources. They don't have the
The
support.
support, yeah.
But it was good having you here, Rivers S Pro. We'll go back to them in studios now. So Brenda, you were still talking, but then I asked Tyrone a question.
Yes,
What
I
is
was
the
still talking.
configuration? What's the configuration of your staff? How many people make up the LRN?
We presently we have like 23 staff members.
And it's all
We
volunteers.
Yes, it's the volunteers. We have some presently like Brenda have like five in Ghana, and on
Hmm.
ground we have we have like 17, 18 persons here.
So
All right.
Uzondo is a part of you guys.
Say
Uzondo.
yeah, yeah. He's our
Okay.
he's our media person in Ghana. He really he's so he grabbed it so much.
Yeah, he is. He is. We had him come on one night from Ghana. He was on our broadcast, but we're talking about why Black Americans gravitating toward Ghana and rather Liberia. When you look at our history, the ties between
The two
you know
countries.
the two countries, and but Ghana is enjoying that. It looks like they're frozen again, Brenda.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so
Why they try to come back, Volcano? I'm
but
a little
Moses, I
bit.
think
Yeah.
we're about to leave anyway because it's 5:31, which is an
Okay.
hour and a half now. But
Okay.
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I just wanted to say that quickly.
Let's hope they come back so we can just close up.
Yeah. I'm a little bit scary that January 4th is right here. It's just a
Hmm.
couple of weeks away. And and with
Hmm.
all the challenges that Tyrone and Brenda spoke about, the limited support being received from the government. Do you think on January 4th, which has been set aside as the date for the repatriation of these people, do you think that's achievable?
I think it's achievable because what we heard from her is that transportation is in place and people
Okay.
have committed. It's just that when they get there, depending on what
Yeah.
they see, they may be like change their minds. And
Yeah.
she says the process is not anything of coercion. It's not like
Yeah. People
fooling you or forcing
voluntarily.
you. You
Yeah.
got to voluntarily return. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I keep saying this. I the opportunity, and I will call it an opportunity because that's what it was. April 6th, that war was no joke. And
No,
I
it
got on
Yeah.
wasn't.
the ship called Victory Reefer.
Mm-hmm.
One of my Ecomog friends, because at the time I was in the media, we all were there at LBS,
Yeah.
and it was that bad. And we went on to Ecomog base, and the guy said, "Listen, you got to get out of this country. I'll do anything to get you to the Gambia. You're a
Okay.
professional broadcaster. You get to Gambia, you'll be able to work because it's an English speaking country."
Yeah.
Got my little bag, got on Victory Reefer. My brother, I saw as I was climbing on the deck, the human beings were like standing like sardine, nowhere to turn, nowhere to shake, and the ship is just rocking. It hasn't even taken off yet. It's at
Yeah.
dock, and it's just. And I said to myself, I turned to the guy. I said, "Dude, I can't go." He said, "Why?" I said, "This thing not gonna
It's
make
too
it."
crowded. Yeah.
And I got down. I said, "I'm not going. I'd rather die in Liberia. I'd rather be displaced here in Liberia than being
Yeah.
a refugee anywhere else." And I got down. So I
Yeah.
can imagine how many people, did not
Yeah.
think like me and took the chance to go
Yeah.
in these foreign countries.
Mm-hmm.
And so the truth here is that home is where the heart is, and home is where you can do well,
Yeah.
to say the least. No matter how long you work, no matter how long you survive in another man's country, it's just
Home
it's
is
just
home.
it's just not going to add up, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
go home. But
Yeah.
Especially, despite those countries don't provide any opportunity like where you guys live.
yeah, yeah,
There's no opportunity at all.
Yeah. That's true.
yeah.
Nothing. There's no future. Your entire life is in limbo.
That's
You
true.
get there, it's like you living for a day, and the day is not even, you don't see the prospect of the day. And that's why we keep telling them. And some of them have seen reason of returning home, and they have put their trust in us. And this is where, you know, sometimes we don't sleep. Where do we get the funding from?
Yeah.
So yeah,
God,
here's my take on this. We come back here right after the first bash on January 4th. We're
yeah,
planned for either the first Tuesday. In fact, the first Tuesday is January 4th. So we will come in that Friday
okay,
after that repatriation. Okay, we'll do the
okay.
promo. This is a commitment now.
We'll
We'll do
do
the
that.
promo. Send me some pictures of the
Okay,
camps you've gone to, so we
all
can
right,
have some graphic. We're going to do an animated promo to
okay,
cover for that Friday. So if the 4th is Tuesday, the 5th is Wednesday, the 6th is Thursday, it would be January 7th, I believe, would
Yeah.
be that Friday. So we are set to broadcast on January 7th, 2022.
22.
yeah,
Okay, the platform
that,
is yours. we'll do
Right.
this. We'll try to see if we can encourage our
How many?
viewers. We'll infuse that in the promo as well, so that they can know that this is an initiative, and the first batch of people will be gone by then, and so
Yeah.
whatever we raise can come, to help out with utensils, with toothpaste, and those kinds of things, just to
Yeah.
get people started again. So
Sure.
again, we want to say thank you. We usually broadcast for an hour and a half, so we'll be wrapping up here, but this gives you a purview of what the discussion will be like when we come back on January 7th. So again, mark that on your calendar. We're not going to
Yeah.
be jumping up and down with it. Just send me some
I know.
pictures, okay,
Right.
so we can have it in the queue for the promo. But
Um,
again, Brenda, it was good having you and Tyrone. We will partner with you guys and make sure that we can do something together to help our folks. Um,
Thank you.
there's nothing better than serving humanity, nothing better
Yes.
in this world than serving humanity, and both of us here in America are in the human services field, even though we get
Right.
paid for what we do, but in the same scheme, we're rendering service to humanity.
Oh
So
yeah.
again, thank you guys for being there with us. Don't forget the broadcast then will be at
We
7
will.
p.m., which should
We
be
will do.
midnight. So if you want to sleep in the day before, but it will be midnight Liberian time. So just so you know, because we want to go through our regular broadcast instead of
Yeah.
something special, so we can have the right audience. Okay.
And so
Thank you
let me
so much.
just, yeah, quickly let me
Thank you.
say thanks to Brenda and Tyrone. There was a very interesting discussion. We sympathize with the situation of our Liberian brothers and sisters out there in foreign land. And we hope that, like Volcano said, we'll be able to do anything in our little way to be of support to the good work you people continue to do for Liberia and our brothers and sisters. Let me say thank you for coming.
So let's just take one minute each from you guys to wrap up. Let's start with a lady. She wasn't here earlier. Let's give her,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
she looks. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Evans, that will be okay. I will be back in Ghana by then. And we promise that it will be a wonderful show. And I want to apologize again the other time. I missed the other show. That was due to the demise of my father.
Oh, sorry
So
to hear
I
that.
Yeah,
came
yeah, we heard
here
that.
for the
Our
funeral and it's
sympathy.
over. Yeah, and then I yeah, thank you. And I took the team to Guinea. So after the funeral and work started, it's all about that. I was so happy. People are asking me, "Can you work? Are you sure you can make it?" Yeah, I said, "Yeah, that is it." So nothing is going to stop us from achieving our goal. Okay, that's what I want to say tonight. Thank you so much for having us on the show, and we stand by you. And thank you so much.
Thank you too for coming.
Tyrone.
Yeah. Nothing else. Nothing more to
All
say
right.
but to say a big thank you. You know, it was just, I kept since we got in contact. I still I have heard this name.
He's in
It
that.
blows me away. Is where I heard the name. Thank you so much for what you do. Keep us alive.
Oh man, he's in that.
And
Yeah.
we look forward. Our heart is out there to you guys to improve
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Taro. Thank you.
So Moses, I
Yeah,
think that we can call it a
a
sweet
day.
one.
Yeah,
Conversation was good.
it was.
Yeah. So we'll be here on Tuesday to discuss. We're not going to talk about what we're talking about on Tuesday until we get a
Yeah,
promo out
we can
tomorrow.
get things out. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, through hectic means, we were able to come through. I had to make the sacrifice from my end.
This
Facebook,
was it.
by the way, Facebook is acting crazy to me. All right.
Wow.
And I'm saying this live so that they can hear me. I'm the Volcano Shelton. I go to sign in on my phone. I got a new phone, the Samsung S21 Ultra 5G, blah, 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 blah. So, usually when you sign on from a new gadget,
Yeah,
it's more like giving you the, you got to do this, do this. My
yeah,
brother, I have done everything Facebook asked me to do,
and it still won't
from
let you.
password to sending code to my phone to my emails to asking friends. I even had to call Joe Mason the other day to stand for me because they sent me faces. And then, I
Yeah.
mean, all of those, they asked me to send video. I did a video. The video was
Oh my
just
God.
buffering for more than 3 hours. I had to just shut things down. So it was just that bad. So I have not been able to do anything on my phone. I was just
Sad to hear.
privy yesterday, struggling through things to come through on the what you call it,
On
on the
Friday.
internet. On the
Yeah.
internet, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, Friday. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
internet. So not the internet, the computer. So I can only come on Facebook via computer. You know how embarrassing and
It
how
is.
difficult it is that for you to go on Facebook, you got to log in on a computer. So
Yeah.
right now, I cannot log in on my phone. Anything I do, my phone, my tablet, Facebook is not allowing me. So I'm telling you now, on Facebook, I am Volcano Shelton. When I log in, put my password in, don't say it's somebody else. Please
Yeah. Now you
accept
got me.
me so I can be able to use my phone, because my phone is the means, is the easiest way for me to navigate, to do all of that, all of the things that I do prior to broadcast. So I'm just putting this out there so whoever in the management team, in the technical team can hear this. Please give me access when I go to log in on my phone. I will try again tomorrow. So I'm just giving you guys the heads up. I will be
And
trying to log in on
and
my phone.
and let me join you in pleading with the management of Facebook, man. The issues room got to continue. Please allow Mr. Shelton the opportunity to be able to utilize his cell phone. Volcano, once again, let me say thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Again, all you viewers, listeners worldwide, wherever you are, we want to thank you for being there with us tonight. This was a special broadcast. We covered the Liberian Returnee Network Incorporated. It is the nonprofit organization established to help return Liberian refugees from in the sub-region. Accordingly, they have about 800 plus people that will be returning to Liberia in January, precisely January 4th. So hopefully that will take place, and they have been able to acquire 10 acres of land to start a small community for those people to repatriate. And they're looking for support, be it in kinds and goods, in cash, in clothing, in utensils, whatever it is. So we're going to have a broadcast here on January 7th to raise some kind of support for this initiative. We think it's a great initiative. It's our people, so we need to come together. So the issues room will be here to help them in our weak way. So again, we want to thank you, our viewers and listeners. Join us on Tuesday. We'll be back here regular showtime, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Volcano Shelton saying, have a great, great day.